Hey everybody, it's Otter here, and I'm going to be doing a tutorial on motion tracking. So first, obviously, you're going to need a clip or a cinematic of some sorts that you are going to want to track. Then we're going to need Sony Vegas. I have Sony Vegas Pro 12. We're also going to need a program called Boujou or Bouzou. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it. And finally, Cinema 4D. So go ahead and open your clip in Sony Vegas. I already did to save time. And before you do anything, make sure you right click on the clip and make sure resample is disabled, because you don't want to have it doing that because that'll fuck it up. And then also unclick maintain aspect ratio. Then you're going to go to properties and make sure that the FPS matches the FPS of your clip. So in that case, it's 30 for me. And again, render quality, make sure it's best. And you're going to want to change this to either video levels or full range. And we're going to go apply. That's all you got to do. So let's render it. So we're going to go File, Render As. And you're going to want to do an image sequence. So it's near the top right here. And we're going to do PNG. But before we render, it's basically what it's doing is it's gonna make a separate picture for every single frame in the video. So you don't want these all just dumping to your desktop. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna render them. I already did some of it, so we're just gonna make another folder here, and you're gonna render them to a folder on your desktop. So and you know, save it, whatever. I don't really care. Alright, now we're going to want to render it to that folder. So go ahead and render it. And I'm going to pause the video and pick up when it's done. Hey guys, so I just finished rendering. So we're going to go ahead and open this folder. And as you guys are going to see, it basically just rendered a frame, a picture for every single frame. So that's a lot. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into Bozo or whatever. We're going to import it. This is the stage where it can get a little difficult, simply because of you have to map the coordinates, and it's a lot of trial and error. So if you need to pause or redo this part, it's fine. It took me a while to get it good. So now that we're in Bozo, we're going to go to Import Sequence. And we're going to go ahead and find it. So I saved it to my desktop, so it'll be under C, and then Users, Me, and Desktop, Cinematics 2. So we're going to open that, and we're going to click on the very first image. And we're going to click Open. And make sure that this is set to 30 frames per second, because that was the frame rate of our original clip. So Apply. And this thing always pops up. Bouzou has detected an alpha channel in the sequence. I don't really know what that is, so I just hit no. It seems to work fine. And close. And now if we scroll through this, you can see it moves the thing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Track Feature. And we're going to make sure it's on sequence 1 and make sure all frames is selected, and then we're going to start. And it's going to be kind of long for me because this is a fairly long clip, so I'm going to pause the video again and resume when it is done tracking. Hey guys, I'm back. So it just finished. So now, as you can see, you can actually scroll through it, and it has a bunch of little red dots that have been tracked. So before we actually map it out, we're going to want to go to Camera Solve and make sure all frames is selected, and also we're going to want to optimize the path that'll make it smoothest for the camera. And start. This usually goes by pretty quick, so I think I'll just wait it out. Okay, so now if we scroll through, you can see that there's a bunch of dots that are actually smoothly motion track. It figured out the best ones to use, and yeah. Alright guys, so after we've done our camera solve, we are actually gonna pick the points on the graph, or on the image here, or image sequence, and they're gonna tell Cinema 4D basically what our plane is. So we're going to pick points that go along the z-axis, which is coming towards you, and the x-axis, which in this case I'm going to have go kind of diagonally because I want the text to be right here. We're also going to pick an origin. So make sure you scroll to just about halfway through your sequences here, and then we are going to go to scene geometry. Okay, so we are going to add our first point, which is going to be the origin. So go ahead and add a coordinate from hint. It's already on origin, so we got to select 1 point. So something that roughly looks to be in the center here. So I'm going to pick this point, and then we're just going to connect to selected. Now we're going to add another coordinate from hint, and we're going to make this our z-axis. And the z-axis, sometimes if that pops up, it's just wondering why you have the same name. So just change it to geometric feature 2, and then it'll work. So we're going to go z-axis, and that's front to back. So we're going to pick maybe this point here and hold control, and we're going to pick this point so it runs along with the floorboards. And then connect to selected. You can go ahead and update, and then we're going to do one more. This is going to be the X, and again it just wants me to change the name, so that's fine. And for the X, we're going to go from here to there because we want points that'll run diagonal to the Z-axis. Connect to selected and update. And you want to press update just a few times, make sure it gets it. And then before we save this, if you want to kind of test out, make some adjustments to see what a 3D object will look like, we can go ahead and add a test object. And you can see it'll pop up right there. And in Cinema 4D, we can scoot it back a little, so that's fine. That's pretty solid. So we're just going to close out of this, and we're going to close out of this. Alright, so just before we export it, we can go ahead and put it in 3D mode. And if we hold shift, we can just kind of scroll around just to make sure that there is a different dimensions that the dots are on. So this will make sure that it'll pick it up in Cinema 4D. So we're going to go back to 2D, and so we're pretty much done. So we're going to go to export and export camera solve. Go ahead and name it. I'm going to name it as just TUT, and save it to desktop. And then here, I'm going to make sure it's camera solve 1, and make sure that the export type is Cinema 4D. And this is also really, really important. You need to change the scale scene by 100. If you don't, Cinema 4D won't recognize the sizes, and it'll be all confusing. So then we save. And that should be on my desktop. Here it is. So we're going to open this up in Cinema 4D. Okay, and we're going to leave the scale by 10, and lights and textures checked. Okay. So now we're going to make sure we have a, well, first off, if we open the timeline up to the full way and we scroll through it, we can just make sure that it is tracking, so that's good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go up here, and I'm in R13, so it'll be a little different if you're in R12, but go up here and we're going to add a background. We're also going to come down here and we're going to create a new material. Double click on that, and instead of the texture being blank, we're going to change that to load an image. Then we're going to go back and find the actual video clip that we used in Sony Vegas, the actual video. And then we're just going to click open. Alright, we're going to drag this onto the background, and that'll kind of set the scene. We're also going to create a floor, and it should be already pretty much lined up like this is. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hold control and drag the material onto the floor to copy it. And we're also going to go to floor, and we're going to add a tag. And we're going to go to tags, Cinema 4D tags, compositing, and then down here we're going to composite background. And you won't see a change here, but when we render it, you won't see the floor. There we go. So now once we've done that, you just add your text or whatever. So I'll just do something quick here. go add some mo text. Middle, and you might need to rearrange the text a little bit, but it'll still track fine. So just put it there. Let's see, we'll do tutorial, and go ahead and put that in impact or wildcard. Actually, I like impact. Okay, just give it a little bit of depth. Caps. I always add a fillet cap, even if it's a small one, just because it kind of rounds the edges a little and it looks nice. And make sure you change the steps if you're going to add a fillet cap, so it keeps a rounded edge. Okay, now if we render it, you'll see that the text is it is on the balcony, but it looks kind of artificial. There's not a lot of shadows. There's not, you know, it's just not doesn't look like it's part of the scene. So what we're going to do is add a light. And I like to try to kind of place the light where the sun would be on the map. This one, it's not really a specific place, so I'll just kind of put it there and move it back a little. And then it shadows the text, but it's still not, doesn't look as real. So we're going to go to light, and down here under the general tab, we're going to make the shadow, and we're going to make it soft shadow mapping. Then we're going to go over here to the shadow tab, and I usually turn this down maybe about 50, and turn this maybe about to 150, say, I don't know, just to change the darkness of the shadow itself. And now if we render this, there should be some nice shadow cast on the the floor. It's a little hard to see because I positioned the shadow forward, but I'll just, you know, I'll replace it. So, as you can see, I'll put that like that. Move it a little more forward, and I'll put the light kind of behind it. And also, I'll make a new material for the text, or you could use the normal one and have some reflection. Whenever you're doing a reflection, always use Fresnel, just because it's more accurate than any original shadow reflection mapping. And there we go. It's looking a little better. You can see we have the reflection from the grass on the ground. And if you don't, if you want more shadow to be cast from the light, we can always bump this up to say maybe 80 or maybe 225, and then the it'll become a lot more visible, as you can see right here. And so just play around with the light placement, try to kind of get it maybe where it would be on the map. I'm not sure exactly where it is on this map. I don't have Black Ops, but something like that. And as we can see, it's gonna kind of glitch out here, but as we can see, if we do move it, it will move the text. It's already animated, everything set. See that? So we're good. So I'm gonna go ahead and render this out. Render settings, make sure it's checked on all frames, and then multipass you can leave alone. If you have a decent computer, you can bump these up. I usually do 1x1 and 4x4. You don't really need anything else. I usually add ambient occlusion just because it helps out a little bit, and make sure you save it, and I will render this out and I will put it at the end of this video. Thanks for watching.